So, first loss of the month, and I'm going to be breaking down exactly what happened and what I'm going to be doing for the rest of the month. Stay tuned. So, losing, when you get a losing trade, it is a little frustrating, but as you become more and more experienced, there's a few things that you have to learn if you want to be successful, which currently I am trying to be a successful trader and trying to pass a challenge. So I'm going to be talking about what I'm doing from the advice that I've gathered from people, courses, and books. Look, so at the end of the day, I'm not here to preach to you guys about the strategy that I'm using is the best, or the fact that you should use this strategy over this strategy. I'm just talking about the core things that I fundamentally think that are important as a trader, and also things that I've gathered from people that I've learned from. So with all that, let's get this started. So the trade that I lost today was my first losing trade of the entire month, and on this funded challenge account. So I'm going to be reviewing exactly why I lost. So I thought that the trade that I took was going to bounce up. I was going long on gold, and I thought it was going to bounce up from the demand area that I had marked out. And as it turns out, it didn't. And guys, losing is perfectly normal. I get it. It sucks. And sometimes you just want to put your shades on and ignore them. But you can't ignore your losses. They're teaching you something. And the thing is, it's not always that you made a mistake. Although, sometimes it is that you made a mistake. So anyways, before we bring cool guy Tony out, let's talk about the mistake that I made. So, the mistake I made was not following one of my biggest rules, which is don't trade Fridays. Now, Fridays are not always a bad day, but more than likely, for some reason, Fridays to me are just always kind of like one of those days that's just a little weird. It doesn't always really work out. So with that in mind, I always try to stick to the rule to not trade Fridays. But today's a Friday, and guess what I did? So let's review, and we'll talk about how the trade went and what I'm going to be doing for the rest of the month. So here we go. Shift Command 5. Record. Okay, so now that you guys are able to see my, I'm gonna get a little more this way. Yeah. Okay, so now that you guys can see my screen, the trade that I took went a little something like this. Okay, so I'm gonna bring out the exact numbers that I was going for. So that way you guys can see. Let the camera focus. This was the trade. I was going long, didn't work out. And so that way you guys can also see I lost $38, which is not bad because it's not even 1%. It's only like 0.6, 0.7 of the entire account. So it's not bad, but I get it. Hey, I get it. It's a little frustrating when you lose. And being able to, Bambi, I don't know why she's doing that. So being able to recoup mentally, and also trade management, being able to be focused and being like, okay, should I get out of this trade? And also manage your emotions is a little difficult, especially when it becomes into a trade. And that it is difficult for me. Other people will be like, oh, I don't care, but realistically, it is difficult for me. So I'm gonna put right now exactly on the computer so you guys can see exactly my actual entry, stop, and take profit. So my actual entry, here says account size. I'm gonna redo this. Account size, so entry price was at 2015.35. And we're trading gold, by the way. So 2015.35. My stop was at 2006.79. Okay. and we are risking 1%. I know it says 0.7 there, but we are risking 1%. So that was how my trade looked. My target was at exactly at a 1-to-1. So right around 2024 was my target price. So what ended up happening, watch, so we can replay this. Where's the replay button? There it is. Okay, so we could replay this. There we go. I'm gonna have to re-put this, huh? Yup. 2015, 35, and 2006, 7, 9. Okay. So this was the trade. Now, as you can see, I still have a little bit of space on my stop loss. It hasn't hit my stop loss. So what I thought this trade was gonna do was, as you guys can see, there's a demand area right here. And the way you make demand areas, which we can dive into another video, but is essentially when there's tight consolidation and then a big push up is usually where the demand areas are. So, and it could be push up or push down. So what I thought it was gonna do, came down, there was news today, came down, and I thought it might have consolidated a little bit, but I thought that it was pretty much gonna do that. That was the thesis. So supply and demand is what I like to use. So, and as you can see now, additionally, in congruence with the stochastic, as you can see, the 5 is crossing. So it hadn't completely crossed yet, but I saw that there was a possibility of it crossing. As you can see there, the 7 was already crossed up, but it was sort of fighting in and out. Now the 15 at this moment was already crossed to the downside, but I got in right around this level. So when I got into the trade, let's let this play out. So the trade, remember, I got in on the bottom level. So when it came down and it started consolidating, I was pretty much waiting. Oops. I was pretty much waiting, and right around this candle on the 15-minute, I got in. And I didn't think it was going to go down. I thought it was going to come up, as you guys can see. And on the 7, as you guys can tell, it was up. And on the 5, it was down at that moment. So as you guys can see, there's a lot of mixed signals, which was my mistake, is not trading on Fridays and also not really paying attention to the signals. Now, I saw this trade as an opportunity. You know, I'm doing the funded account and I'm trying to pass the challenge, and I saw this as an opportunity, but it ended up being a loss. I got out, as you guys could tell, I don't know if you guys can see right there, around let's let it focus, around 2007. So it didn't hit my stop loss because I got out before it hit my stop loss. But even though I was able to intuit that I wasn't going to go my way, as you guys can see, the signals weren't clear. If you guys saw my last video about trading during the Fed, even though there was a big news days, those signals were so much more clear on getting into that trade. So my big 2 mistakes that I made was not trading on Fridays and not paying attention to my signals, which are 2 very important things. You know, if you guys have your own strategy and your own plan and you're gonna get into a trade, make sure that it fits a criteria before you get in, which was my mistake. So now I'm gonna stop recording here, and that was the trade that I lost today. So recapping this week, I'm still up 1% for the week. So it's not a total disaster, but I could have avoided this loss if I would have just waited for an entry next week. But again, maybe when I woke up this morning, I was feeling like a soda with no fizz, you know, and that was something that had nothing to do with my trading life, but it obviously does bleed into the trading life. So if you guys wake up And you know, every day is a little bit different. It's not that I woke up in a bad mood. I just woke up with a little bit of no fizz because I've been working very hard. So, you know, getting in sleep and taking care of my baby and doing all these things, you know, all of those things are influential factors of how you feel. So those things are important to take into consideration. And if I would have just taken a little bit more time to consider those emotions and those feelings before entering the trade, I probably wouldn't have lost this trade because I wouldn't have even traded. So that's what happened, guys. That's the trade that I lost, and I hope you guys found some value from this. If you guys would like to see more content like this, please subscribe, comment. I appreciate you guys. And link tree in the bottom if you'd like to see the rest of my socials, like my Instagram, my TikTok, and all the other stuff. Catch you guys on the next one.